Hello everybody, welcome. Bookworm is a very happy bookworm today. And why? Because it is overcast with a chilly breeze. Goodness, I felt like my intestines had been cooked. I'm so happy that I went outside at 6:30 a.m. in a pair of shorts. That chill air and breeze revived me. Hopefully it will stay like this today. We all need it. Okay, now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, namely Harry's visa and yesterday's hearing. Now, as I understand it, the judge did not rule that he was going to make the visa application public. As a matter of fact, Nichols said that he will likely make parts of the visa public or then the relevant parts. In other words, the parts applicable to the Heritage Foundation's request. Now, if you go back on my videos, that is exactly what I said they, or then the judge, should do or likely will do. At the end of the hearing, Nichols said, and I quote, "I'm going to take this in stages." He then stated that he would allow the government to submit proposed redactions in order for him to analyze whether Harry properly attested to cocaine, cannabis and psychedelic mushroom abuse, as detailed in his 2023 memoir, Spare. Okay, now in my opinion, the judge will release the information, but without things like Harry's medical records and financial records, etc. That will all be redacted because it has no bearing on the case. But again, in my opinion, Judge Nichols is only playing for time. Firstly, to save face after he previously ruled not to release details of Harry's visa. And number two, to give the government time to get the paperwork in order. Because, my dears, something stinks like a sewage farm in the hot sun. And here is why I say so. Remember, Judge Nichols instructed the Department of Homeland Security to release the paperwork to him. The first time they asked for an extension to look for it because they could not find it. The second time I was under the impression that they did release it to Judge Nichols, but no, they did not. I thought he ruled the first time based on the actual documents he received, but no, he did not. Instead of the actual visa application, Homeland Security provided him sworn declarations by DHS officials. On Wednesday, Judge Nichols again asked for the documents so he too can review possible redactions. And Attorney John Bardo argued, and I quote, that the Duke's records were essentially the same as the sworn declarations by DHS officials already submitted into evidence and reviewed by the judge. Now, I don't know about you, but to me it sounds like they either do not have the documents, they haven't found them yet, or they really do not want to give it to the judge. But let's dissect that a little bit. All I can say for now, before I carry on, is, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Like I said, there are only one of two scenarios. Number one is that there is something explosive in those documents, something serious and nefarious, like maybe an arrest for violence or assault. I can think of one incident, namely that photographer that Harry assaulted and whose camera he broke. Poor likely at the time paid the bloke off and the case went away. Something like that, or even worse. I don't know, but I guess you know what I mean. Or the second alternative is that Harry flew in on a private jet, landed on a private airstrip, and was taken off the tarmac in a chauffeur-driven vehicle. And now the paperwork is being manufactured. The argument against this is that Harry would have had to have paperwork in order to buy 765 Rockbridge Road and get a mortgage. But I've said this numerous times and I'll say it again. I have serious doubts that the home was indeed purchased by Harry as the person behind the trust. I think someone like Pa, bought it for them, paid a certain amount and told Harry, like you would one of your children maybe, okay, now Harry, you pay the mortgage, and once it's paid off, the house will become yours. I know of parents who did this because they knew their kids and knew that they could not be trusted with money. So they registered the house and the mortgage in their own name until the kid had paid it off. They do this in fear that the child will not be able to pay the mortgage at some point, and then they end up losing the money the parents, have already put in. So I think that is a possibility, in which case little to no paperwork would have been required from Harry in such a private deal. Regardless of all of this, I'm still agitated by the fact that even the Heritage Foundation is pussyfooting around Harry. And why am I saying this? Well, I know the Heritage Foundation's goal is not to get Harry deported, but rather to look into how efficient and fair or corrupt Homeland Security is. Having said that, I'm sure they considered that if it is proven that Harry got a visa when he should not have, or that he lied on his application, that he may very well be deported. Well, in my opinion, if you start something, then you should see it through and do a proper job. You see, whether we speak about the visa or not, it does not really matter in certain instances. You see, as a foreigner living in the United States, a non-citizen, Harry will be judged by federal law. Now, why is that? Because as a non-citizen, whatever he does will be seen as a cross-border crime, or crime committed by someone who came across the border. Federal law states the consequences for a drug conviction depend on your legal status as a non-United States citizen and the specific crime. And these include, number 1, mandatory deportation, number 2, possible deportation, number 3, inadmissibility to the United States. Further, once convicted, there are further possible consequences, persons like those cannot legally re-enter the United States after they leave, or they can never become a United States citizen, or they can never apply for a green card, or they can never apply to adjust their status from illegal to legal again. If a non-citizen came to the United States legally, courts do not automatically deport him or her after drug conviction, but instead the courts may rule them inadmissible, which basically in the long run has the exact same impact, because if he or she ever leaves the United States, he or she cannot return. Now, I want to take you back to page 390 of Harry's book, chapter 81. Late at night, with everyone asleep, I'd walk the house, checking the doors and windows. Then I'd sit on the balcony or the edge of the garden and roll a joint. Now, Harry is talking about his time at Tyler Perry's mansion. Then there is the talk or interview with Dr. Gabor Mate, in which Harry talks about his past and current drug use. I'm not going to read all of it for you from the transcript because it is long and so boring, but I am going to read you two relevant parts. The last part of Dr. Gabor Mate's question. So at some point you said in your book that, how do you put it, that they help you define reality for yourself. Can you explain what they've done for you? Now, Dr. Mate was talking about psychedelics here, okay? And Harry answers, it was the cleaning of the windscreen, the cleaning of the windshield, the removal of life filters, just as much as on Instagram. You know, so many of these kids are like 1, 1, 1, 1, and then he gestures layers with his hand. And just these layers of filters, it removed it all for me and brought me a sense of relaxation, release, comfort, lightness that I managed to hold onto for a period of time. But the moment I'm back in the chaos, it kind of then sort of dissipates. But you know, again, for me, I started doing it recreationally and then started to realize how good it was for me. And I would say that it is one of the fundamental parts of my life that changed me and helped me deal with the traumas of the past. Now I want to repeat this one sentence. Is one of the fundamental parts of my life. So Harry admitted at least twice that he used or uses drugs as a foreigner on United States soil. So he's either committing a federal crime or did commit a federal crime. The thing is that it never stops there. The use of cannabis, although legal in California, as it states, for medicinal and adult recreational use, but the sale thereof is strictly regulated Businesses must operate safely, products must be contaminant-free and labeled, and cannabis must be kept away from children. Blah, 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 blah. There's a whole set of rules. So the question arises, where does Harry get his stash? Not that he, under federal law, may even use it, but they will be far more lenient on cannabis only, I think. Does he actually walk into a cannabis store openly and buy himself some form of this stuff? Or does he buy it off someone else? Maybe Doria or a bodyguard or whoever. Now, if he does get it that way, then both he and his dealer or seller are committing a crime. In California, San Francisco, Oakland, and Santa Cruz decriminalized possession of psychedelic mushrooms. However, if you possess mushrooms with the intent to sell, doesn't matter where, even in these three places, you are committing a felony. As a state, California has not yet made psychedelics, possession thereof, use, or distribution legal yet. In May 2024, a bill to regulate psychedelics failed again in the legislature. It is, however, out and out a federal crime to use, possess, or even distribute several hallucinogens, including mushrooms. In 2023, Gavin Newsom vetoed a proposed bill aimed at decriminalization of psychedelics or hallucinogens. So, whatever way you look at it, using ayahuasca in California, buying or possessing this stuff is illegal. You see, Dr. Mate, with his big mouth, can treat a patient in Canada with a limited and regulated amount of ayahuasca because controlled treatment by a professional is legal in Canada. So these two men actually forgot to check Californian law before they sat down for their chat. Well, I say, too bad, so sad. Harry actually needs to be charged federally with a crime and deported back to England. I mean, sorry guys, he is a British citizen, so you will have to take him. You can dispense him elsewhere from there, but you will have to first take him back. Okay, now here is my prediction of what I think is going to happen. I think as soon as Harry and his legal team sees that the writing is on the wall, Harry will leave the United States before he can be arrested or charged or deported. I think he or they are already looking at alternatives. Harry and the royal family would not want to be associated with such a scandal, and Harry would not want any kind of federal or legal action taken against him which would prevent him from ever returning to the United States. So I think he'll leave before anything can be done. I personally think history is going to repeat itself. I read that Harry and Meghan are going on a getaway to the Bahamas. Allegedly, Tyler Perry had offered them his house in the Bahamas. Allegedly, Tyler told Meghan and Harry to take time to reconnect and repair, insisting that she and Harry needed time away from everyone, even the children. So here we go. They are already following the exact same pattern as they did when they left England. Guaranteed they will go to the Bahamas after Invictus, just like they did when they went to Portugal after the previous Invictus. They are so predictable. Same old, same old. Maybe they will go stay in Tyler Perry's Bahamas home until their home in Portugal has been completed. Who knows? We will have to wait and see. Anyway, my dears, that's me for today. I'm going to love and leave you until we meet again on the next one. Bye.